Boom. Boom. Good morning, everybody. This is Alexander A. Manzoni with Manzoni in the morning. All right, everybody. How is everyone fucking doing? All right. Here I am after Christmas in the new year, and shit. Shit is fucked up. I mean, really fucked up lately. But first, we must perform a ceremony. This is the ceremonial removing of the stockings. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Christmas can't be over. Too bad it is. You're gonna have to deal with it. Well, this time next year, we'll see you again. Stockings. All right. Today I got some new poems for you, and we're going to continue off with the Annunaki Next Door. Okay. Now, as we all know, some crazy shit happened this week. The president's cult of bloodthirsty domestic terrorists descended upon the Capitol and invaded the Capitol building. Now, I posted online my photos of me protesting at the Capitol building back in 2009. Here I am. Sitting there, standing there. You wouldn't even know I was protesting unless I told you. These fucking people. They all need to be treated like they treat us at the Black Lives Matter protest. Because there's another big fucking march. The Million Militia March is coming the 19th and the 20th for inauguration. 50 states all around the country, they're going to attack the capitals, and I hope they're ready for it. I really do, because last time they had cops just letting them in, you know? That's why we need to vet our law enforcement officials a little bit more, a little bit harder, okay? Do it a little bit more stringently, okay? Please. So many things happened this week. The president finally got fucking banned from Twitter. Wow. It's about fucking time. Oh, I am so glad. I mean, he has really been pushing it. And now, the world's crumbling. Parler has been shut down. His accounts have been suspended or banned all over the friggin' internet. Even YouTube suspended his account for a week. So, I had to write a poem about it because that's what I do, bitches. All right, this one's called The President is Banned. The President is banned. The president is banned. We're rejoicing hand in hand all across the land. Banned from Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. All he's got left is YouTube and Parler. Today it was Twitter, a permanent lockout. Woo-ah. So he went to the official government POTUS account to post, and he got banned there too. What's the use, you traitorous cur? You've incited rebellion. You allowed terrorists to storm the Capitol with abandon and inflated their egos so that they were confident enough to record themselves and their foul friends as they rampaged through the day To our nation and to the rest of the world's dismay. Why is social media cracking down quicker than the authorities? The crime is there for all to see. Civil War 2021. Wait till you see what they've got planned for inauguration. Their words, not mine. In another time, these insurrectionists will be lined up and shot by a military firing squad. Boop, 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 boop. They chastise the snowflakes for not being tough enough. But I bet they'd believe that that would be going too far. Yet they were calling for death months ago during the Black Lives Matter protests. Death to all who disrespect this country. Well, none of us charged into the Senate chambers wearing a Viking hat. And if we did, we'd all be dead. Shot with expert accuracy. Authoritative courage summoned that they could not be mustered when they crashed through the barricades. Motherfuckers. Some bullshit. Here's the next poem. Well, this is the first one I wrote in reference to the siege of the Capitol, and it's called Under Siege. The censored traitors have stormed the Capitol, charged through the barricades. They are parading through the hallways of Congress while law enforcement does all that they can to treat the sore loser snowflakes with the most delicate of kid gloves. Gloves reserved for the whitest of folks. Our president must be charged. High crimes, treason, for he is the one who instigated this. He is the one who commanded their ranks. He encouraged the dismantling of the electoral process while simultaneously pissing on the spirit of this country, riling up his pet deplorables. They pile into buses and Ford trucks and drive into D.C. from all the cardinal directions, ranting and raving and believing that they will overturn the election in their favor. For the only way we can lose is if it's rigged, y'all. They're busting out windows, looting, hanging, doing what looks like parkour while our lawmakers preside and bicker amongst themselves. Luckily, they were diligent enough to evacuate the elected officials from the premises, gave them gas masks and hurried them out some secret passage. Why did they need to run? Why couldn't law enforcement stymie the advance? A percentage of their number must be on it themselves. Why else? So trigger happy? On a dime, they'll shoot 7 bullets into a black man's back. At the BLM protests over the summer, they wasted no time firing rubber bullets and tear gas at my social media followers. Even bystanders found themselves gassed. It was so thick. I am so sick of election 2020. With the final nail in the coffin was supposed to be the Georgia runoff. Just got a word that Democrats are projected to win. Let us begin to pick up the pieces. But first, okay, we're back. I didn't realize that when you delete a video off your iPhone, it just goes into a recently deleted folder. So now that's taken care of. Let's continue. Okay. All All right. Let's just get to my story, the Annunaki Next Door. Let's do it because there's a windstorm going outside, and this morning our power was out. So the power went out, of course, while I was setting up for the podcast. So I'm very anxious about completing this today before the wind knocks the fucking power lines over again. Holy shit. All right, let's do this. I stopped to say hi to the grass-eating apes. And no, that's not a racist euphemism for anything. Geladas. No, actually, there's something or somebody else to see here under the unforgiving sun. The closest town to where you shall find them is Mihalmeta. But here, it's officially the Guasa Community Conservation Area. But don't think that the leaders protected this place because they give a rat's ass about mountain apes or Ethiopian wolves. No, they made this place... They made this as a place for burnt-out aliens such as a number of my predecessors from the previous configurations of this reality timeline. Basically, they get so fed up that they travel to one of the most isolated spots in Africa to essentially be monks without a religion. Their identities are concealed, and it is nigh impossible to determine who's eating grass for show and who's eating grass to impress that hoe over there because it's a real gelada. Damn it. Here was where I came to visit an old friend of mine, Marcus Breen. I had a rough landing. Sheared the top of a mountain off on the way down. Might have killed a few wild bystanders. What am I saying? Of course I killed some. But that's the cost of doing business in Africa. When the dust settled, I could hear the creatures getting more brave, approaching the craft still red hot and smoking from the landing. I engaged the detectorama to sort through who was a watcher and who was eating and shitting clumps of grass. It came up with nothing. What the? There should have been at least a half dozen of my people here at the home for misfit explorers, those of us who explore and conquer. I fiddled with the control panel before me, activating a special flare to signal my arrival. Only us watchers would be able to see the explosion and subsequent array of multicolored sparks. Everyone else saw a dusty blur. Here's the message. Marcus, it is Alan Efagorio. How are you doing out here in the wilds? Come to the peak of the mountain specified in these coordinates. Those are the coordinates. I don't know how to read them. You are welcome to bring any friends you may have made out here, even the apes. I am not currently feeling discriminatory. Fun factoid, many aliens have 3 balls, I have 4. But us watchers are the upper crust of the cosmic cheesecake, so don't take that as something that can be said for the rest of them. I put the message out there and got up to fetch a steaming cup of Zinima tea. If only the Cerebromax could project thoughts into another watcher, I thought, but we are immune to its effects. After 20 minutes, a light rapping was heard on the Bombay doors, courtesy of our covert Vimana manufacturing plant in Bombay. I ran a scan to determine the nature of the awaiting being. It came up hot for a watcher. So I allowed him, her, them, what the fuck to enter, but not before setting up a barricade at the far end of the hangar. For there are aliens out there that mimic the biosignatures of other aliens. Minimatrons. I hit the button and said into the intercom, Taranya, we have a guest. Please put whatever you're up to on hold and come up to the bridge. Got it, said Taranya. I'll be there in 15 centrixes. Make sure you're well armed, I added, in case our seemingly friendly guest turns on us like a wild Glornock undergoing must. I recalled that the Watchers who came up here to retire from their explorer missions would intermittently go insane. And on occasion that insanity included a host of homicidal/suicidal behaviors. The visitor entered the belly of my craft. A klaxon chirped to herald the new arrival. The individual came in, albeit hesitantly. "Greetings," said the visitor, waving in the customary nature of my people, a circular waving motion with 3 rotations of the wrist. And then the smell hit me. Holy smoking moon craters, it was bad. Of course, that's what happens when you're living in the wild, throwing fistfuls of poop or whatever it is they are wont to do regularly. "Whew, you stink," I exclaimed. "Step back. I need to hose you down."
"All right,"
said the guest, in an effeminate alien voice,
"if you must."
I led her to the decontamination shower, and when I pulled the correct lever stick, a prehensile hose snaked its way down from a slot in the ceiling. If this was a Japanese anime or manga, my guest would be in big trouble. "Don't worry, we'll get you cleaned up," I said. "Then we can talk. The guest disrobed underneath. The far from flattering ape suit was a hard, chiseled, beautifully naked body. Ah, a fine watcherette. My eyes were drawn to the nipples on her bibby gap, her secondary bulbous back butt. On a man, the same part would be called the bibby gap, despite the fact that my people have been phasing out many gender differentials. There were still a few glaring omissions. "Sir," said Taranya, quiet in my ear, "you're staring." "No, I'm not," I blurted. "I'm just, making sure she's not trying to bring in any contraband. Yeah. That's it." "Is this what you'd tell the leadership if I report you again for unscrupulous behavior?" "I really wish you'd keep a lid on it," I said. "It'd make life and this mission a heck of a lot easier." "What's your name?" I asked of our guest, waving politely. She turned to get a good look at me. I blinked and felt something stir down below. It made those few brief seconds of silence feel like an awkward eternity.
"Yala."
"Oh, Yala Netta," she replied, her voice changing. She patted her long, beautiful eyelashes, and my heart flip-flopped into the depths of my 4 stomachs. "I don't believe I've ever heard of you," I continued. "Are you a new recruit?" "Only over the last 500,000 years," said Ya Lanetta, "although it feels like it began just yestermonth." "I know that feeling," I answered, thoughtfully gazing up at the bright ceiling lights. "And I have something to report to the leadership," began Ya Lanetta. She walked around the immediate vicinity, looking around, curious. "I've witnessed a bizarre increase of activity in the Highlands. A number of my so-called colleagues have been acting more and more secretive. Once I started looking into it, I found that things were going all wrong all over the place. I'd say they were sabotaged." "Sabotaged?" I blurted. I had to hold back a pronounced and pretentious scoff. "Yes. Here," uttered Ya Lanetta, "before something strange happens." She leaned towards me, clutching something in her fist, a semi-vinyl disc document. I took it from her and placed it on the pilot's console. Bang! 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 "What was that?" I said, turning to look in the direction of the din. Someone or something was rapping on the hangar door. Ya Lanetta froze, then abruptly screamed and scrambled towards the emergency exit. When the lock refused to disengage, she began to panic, ultimately having a spirited ape fit and clawing at the hinges. "Let me out! Please, let me out before it finds me!" "Who finds you?" I asked.
"It,"
she replied.
"What's it?" "The Atronomeo."
"Ah, give me a break, sweetie," I said dismissively, waving my hands. "That's just a legend, pure hearsay, old wives' tale stuff."
"Haven't you received any of my transmissions?"
said Yalanetta.
"I've been sending them out every day, Mar."
And really, that's interesting. I checked my personal interface device. It does show a strange frequency being emitted.
"That's it. I'm almost positive that at least one of the apes monkeying around here is in cahoots with that aberration. First, they cut off our communications. Then they started snatching us up. One by one."
I activated my sensor sweep and manned the camera feed. It should have shown our visitor standing before my craft. Yet, he came up with nothing. But one detail I did notice were the impressions in the soil. Impressions belonging to what appeared to be 6 pairs of feet. I spoke into the mic. "Attention, this is Special Agent Alan Efagorio of the United Watcher Confederation. Identify yourself, or be vaporized." Instead of an answer, our visitor redoubled its efforts. Bang! 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 "What does your supervisor have to say about this?" I asked of Yalanetta.
"They're all dead. There are only a few of us left out here."
"It must be divine providence that I showed up when I did."
"Yes.
But that sounds a little too convenient." Thinking fast, I went to the supply closet and grabbed a canister of neon yellow hull paint. I popped it open and placed it in the marble Urnock. A few calculations here and there. Math is hard. The Urnock etherealized the paint and projected it into an alternate reality, which immediately folded in upon itself, placing the can where I needed it to be, right above the fucking thing's head. Boom! It proved to be an unwelcome surprise for our visitor. The paint enveloped and it revealed much of its physical form, revealing the visitor's fearsome size, at least 12 human feet tall. On its 6 legs there were 6 joints and bone growths jutting out from elbow hinges. A loathsome proboscis was revealed underneath a nest of tentacular mouth parts, and each mouth part possessed its own set of red, yellow, and orange eye slits. Following that up, I engaged the Cerebromax.
"Thought input,"
the digitized voice asked of me in my native tongue. "I've got to go to the bathroom," I said to it, "and it's going to be messy if I don't hop to it pronto." The incessant banging continued.
"Error,"
said my computer.
"Thought unsent."
"What a worthless piece of junk," I complained. I kicked the base of the machine to no effect.
"Isn't there any way we can blast out of here, like right now?"
asked Yalanetta. "Yes," I said, "but first I want to figure out what we're dealing with here." Wait, what the hell was that? Our invisible visitor was prying the first door off its hinges. Granted, there were several layers of entryways between here and the airlock, but that didn't mean we had time to sit on our asses. No. "Tirania, arm yourself with a Class Q particle accelerator," I called out. "We may be dealing with an unknown force."
"Acknowledged,"
said Tirania.
"Should I post up at the security kiosk?"
"That would be great. Arm the robots as well, and have them back you up." Finished with the exchange, I hurried Yalanetta to an incrementally safer location, the aviary. Then I ran back to the bridge and manned the controls.
"The intruder is passing through the second secure archway,"
warned Tirania over the speaker.
"The weapons aren't working worth a damn." And instead of defending the ship, Carmen began masturbating with a fist in his.
But blank! There came a small series of explosions. The Vimana shook. All of my favorite tchotchkes. As tacky as they were, so sue me, fell off the shelves. So much good porcelain wasted. My tiny doe-eye human children.
Oh no!
Shrieked Taranya.
It just killed Carmen! We have to fall back!
Well then fucking do it, I shouted. Get out of there! Fuck, I always liked the way Carmen would rub our feet after work. All kidding aside, Rachel wasn't so good at that, but she was suited for other, saucier things. What are we going to do? Asked the fearful Taranya. We could try releasing a flood of residual radiation from the turbo drivelets, I postulated. No time to ponder, I dashed to the engineering console and began pulling switches. Danger, said the ship computer. Choosing to do so may cause. I didn't wait to hear, because I knew what the deal was anyway. One last safety catch. Red light bathed the interior of the ship. Danger, said the computer. Radiation has contaminated the first and second Secura archway. Hazard toxicity level is escalating exponentially. Tell me something I don't know, I remarked, shaking my head. Another explosion rocked the ship. I found myself thrown off my feet, slamming my head against a standing computer interface. As I arose, the cyan-tinged blood trickled down my brow. It occurred to me we were going to have to flee the vessel. I moved to the nearest intercom and let Lynetta know my intentions. Listen up, we're about to lose the ship to this thing. Follow the signs of the emergency exit pods. Granted, you're not going to be able to break escape velocity, but it will carry you away to safety, however temporary. Okay, said Lynetta. I hung up on her. Whatever she did now was her own prerogative. Gazing out the port hatch, I witnessed an emergency pod engage, lift up and plummet back down to the planet right as the Atronomeo zeroed in on my precarious position. Knowing the dangers involved, I elected to fit a partial cloaker to my life support interface. Normally one would never do this. It washes the subject's genes in an ultraviolet field that could only be described as positively malignant. Doing this would kill a regular man faster than a fart on a hyper roller coaster. But for me, well, it definitely skews my longevity, though admittedly living through the literal zoonocomin of subsisting through multiple realities with you humans has been draining. Not quite as draining as the cloaker would be on my bioducts and nerve bundles. The terrible din was nearing, and Atronomeo can sever the diadiamond Lorbnalax off a quintuple fortified Miatalena Uber Dreadnought. What could possibly hope to stop such awfulness incarnate? I remember my maternal grandfather, Smeartoe the Wiseacre, when he told me a tale, that of the siege of Iome 86. He was stationed in a medium-class strata cruiser, not a spaceship per se, but not an airplane either. Anyway, they were doing work in the blockade customs department, checking ships to see if the contents of their holds were on the up and up. Well, in one of them, which was supposedly holding 10 maxi tons of children's toys, they decided to send in a sniff to determine if any illegal shit was on board. Turns out there was a watcher-eating manifestation of pure terror. It's not that it broke out of its confines. No, the smugglers, they had done that part of the job quite well. It was sealed in an electromagnetic crate made to appear as a great number of toy packages joined together. It was situated at the center of 1,000 score toys for tots that looked just the same as the last, cheaply made and too damn expensive for its own good. It would have been a sight to see, Grandfather had told me, but I was busy cleaning an excreta blockage from the fluid piping on our ship an error in the schedulatron resulted in the entirety of the crew's bowel movements falling upon the same day. Part of social engineering in the Watcher's realm involved making sure everyone's monthly shits were spread apart. Someone in administration really screwed up, and a lot of good folks died because of it. If you ever encounter one of these monstrosities, my grandfather had said, you need to run, hide, do whatever you have to. I'll never forget the sight after it broke free. Dozens upon dozens of us lying, eviscerated, blood drained, the contents of their craniums sucked out through their head holes. Was there ever any way to defeat the thing? Yes, said grandfather, although it happened quite by accident, and that was where my memory trailed off. How convenient. I racked my brain, combing through every neuron and dendrite for a solution, but there was little else I could do. It was the sound of the latticework of ceiling panels being torn asunder. First, the sharp talons dented the metal, then with repeated strikes pierced through the other side, revealing my first glimpse of the terror. The blurry textbook photos from my university days served little purpose. I thought, what's the matter with you? You gotta get out of here. No time for being a looky-lucky or a loosey-looky or a looky-loo or whatever the fuck it's supposed to be. It's looky-loo. Well, what's that gonna matter? It was all semantics, which meant little in the ultra grand scheme of things. We're gonna wrap up right there for today. Next week, I'm going to record another podcast with Dennis Held. And I'm really excited to do that. So we're going to do a bunch of poetry for you. And it's going to be very nice. I'm going to go out there and pay him a visit. And we're going to have a good time. I really like doing this. Sorry that I kept getting interrupted today. My phone ran out of memory 3 times. Whatever. And I realized that my collar was fucked up. Oh well. Keep moving forward. Forward, onward, inward, everywhere else. Okay? Manzoni in the morning is taking off. We're kicking ass and taking names and doing what we need to do. Okay? Now I'm living my dream. This is my dream. The writing, the poetry, the stories, the podcast, all of it. Living it. You should live your dream too, if you can. If it makes sense for you anyway, you know? And I'll be rooting for you the whole time. Hoo, 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 hoo. Yeah. So, I will join you again soon. I miss everybody, and I can't wait to see people once this quarantine shit is over. All right. This is Manzoni in the morning. Signing off. Thank you. Fuck yeah. We did it. Another one in the can. Episode 44. Manzoni in the morning show.